Welcome into the 49ers Report live here on Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. So much to get into on today's show as we cover the latest 49ers news and 49ers rumors. And no matter where you're watching or how you're watching, thank you so much for making the 49ers Report a part of your day. We'll get the official show started here in about 10 minutes, but as we always do here on the 49ers Report, want to interact with the Niner faithful, want to chop it up with the Niner gang, and really get that comment section flowing before we get into the latest 49ers news and rumors. Also, a special segment on Rumble After Hours, coming your way exclusively on Rumble. We'll tell you more about that coming up here in just a few moments. But first, Niner gang, where are you watching from? It's been a couple of weeks since we officially went live for a show like this because there's been so much craziness across the National Football League. I was basically the lead host on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel all throughout NFL free agency, breaking everything down on that side of things. So we haven't been able to have an exclusive live show here on the 49ers Report like we always do every single Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Excited to end that skid right now. So where are you watching from? Give you some shout outs. I see Niagara Falls coming in from Mike Jew, Hawaii from Labby, Seth Dunbar, Toledo, Ohio, Corey Delman is in California, James is in Jersey, Danny in Sacramento, James Jensen in Arizona, Hayward, California from Jonathan, YT Joke, San Francisco, San Fran Cisco, you love to see it. Oregon from Todd. Hamilton City, California is also in the house. So too is Illinois, San Francisco, Connecticut. Let's see, North Carolina, Brooklyn, New York, Pittsburgh, California, Gainesville, Texas. We are emanating to you live from our Chat Sports studios in Dallas, Texas. I am your boy Chase, senior producer Marshall Green on the ones and twos. So much to unpack and get into on today's show. Let me ask you this next question. Are you surprised that Jimmy Garoppolo has not been traded? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know in the comment section, and I'll give you some more shout-outs. Code Killer, no. Gino is in Hawaii. Todd Gibson, no. SF 49ers fan, yes. Jeffrey Webster, no. Ron Solo, no. Hell yeah from Treasure Kisses, what it do. Dallas, Texas is in the house, nice. Right around the corner from us. Ebel, no. Hawaii, baby, from Lyman. BK from the Bay, what it do, my guy. Typing an N for no. Polar Splash, Y for yes. Shingon, no. Jigga, no. Jerry Maguire, yes. I am somewhat surprised. I thought the Niners, they looked at that cap number, $26 million. They wanted to clear that off their salary cap to improve the roster. Up to this point, they have not. Now, I told you about Rumble to kick off today's show. We will be doing an exclusive segment after our live show on YouTube on Rumble exclusively. So right now, this is what I want you to do. Go to rumble.com/49ers TV, subscribe, and follow us over there. I want to challenge the Niner gang to see how many followers we can pick up on today's show only. Currently, only 145 subscribers, which under the Chat Sports umbrella, one of the lowest. But this is what I do know about the Niner faithful. You guys show up. You guys show out. You support everything that we do here as we've reached millions of people over the last few months. Rumble.com/49ers TV. Plug in that link, subscribe, because over time we're going to be putting up more exclusive content on Rumble only. And on today's show, bold predictions coming your way on Rumble only. So one more time, rumble.com/49ers TV. Subscribe. Let's see how many people we can get to subscribe on Rumble. Then I'll be going live exclusively on the Rumble app right after this. You can also plug it in your web browser too for those of you watching on a TV or computer. One mailbag today because we're doing an extra segment on today's show. So I want to get all of those questions in as soon as possible and get as many questions in as possible. Couple ways for you to get involved. Use the hashtag 49ers or Super Chat. We have a couple of new people here at Chat Sports who we have hired over the last couple of weeks. We get a $50 Super Chat. We're going to have some people either do a beer boot or they're going to have to do a beer bong, maybe even a beer shotgun, maybe even take some shots. Now, myself, Marshall, we're drinking some ranch waters right now, some mineral water with some tequila. I had a Jack and Coke prior to the show because it was a long day. We were busy. No, I'm not an alcoholic, but I just needed to, loosen up a little bit, take the stress off, because we've been doing a lot here at Chat Sports in addition to on the 49ers Report. So if you're ready to start today's show, let me know that you're ready to start today's show by hitting that thumbs up icon and liking the video. Right now, only 36 likes. Can we get, 75% participation rate? Can we get to 100 likes before we start the show? Let's shoot for the stars, show up, show out. Let's see what we can do, faithful. Hit that thumbs up icon and like the video if you're ready to start today's show. 164 people watching live. That number only going to continue to grow all throughout the day. On Rumble, did we pick up any more subscribers? It's up to you to decide that. 147 now. So we picked up one subscriber. You got to like us. You got to subscribe to us on Rumble, because we're going to be doing a Rumble-only segment right after our live show here on YouTube. That link is in the chat right now, or it's rumble.com/49erstv. Here's what we have coming your way on today's show. 81 likes, 172 people watching live. Can we get to 100 likes prior to today's showtime? Let's do it. Jimmy Garoppolo latest. The Seattle Seahawks, they going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, and would the 49ers do it? We'll get to that. Top available free agents. We'll do a Q&A mailbag where I take all of your 49ers related questions. Hashtag 49ers to get those questions in. Better yet, super chat us. Let's get those super chats flowing, man, because then we get to party together, get to do some fun things. And then our Rumble After Hours segment, Rumble exclusive segment, where I give you my bold predictions following week 1 of NFL free agency, as we are in week 2 of NFL free agency. Almost 200 people watching live, 84 likes. 16 more for 200. Let's ride. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. This is what we have coming your way on today's show. If producer Marshall Green tells me that we're ready to rock, we start off with the latest on Jimmy Garoppolo. Continue to hit that thumbs up icon, and let's hop into the latest 49ers news and rumors. You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Coming up on today's show, we're getting to the latest on Jimmy Garoppolo. When we start off with this, a lot of you are asking me, why are the 49ers where they are with Jimmy Garoppolo, and why hasn't he been traded yet? Now, there's a couple of reasons behind why Garoppolo has not been dealt by the San Francisco 49ers. So let me run you through kind of the timeline of events and the sequence of events as to why the 49ers are where they are and they haven't dealt Jimmy G, because a lot of you are surprised that he's still on this roster, considering that cap hit pretty hefty at $26 million. So the easiest one, the Niners simply haven't traded away Jimmy G. Also, I think the 49ers have overplayed their hand. They thought that the market was going to be a lot more robust, and it hasn't been. The shoulder injury for Jimmy G, undergoing that surgery 2 weeks ago, has also hurt his trade value. There's also been insane quarterback movement this offseason to historic proportions, and because of that, the quarterback market, folks, it's dried up. So where can Jimmy Garoppolo go to now? The Carolina Panthers, the Seattle Seahawks, those are really the two remaining destinations for Jimmy G. Or are the Niners going to hold on to him going into next year, into training camp, so that he can rehabilitate and come back from that shoulder injury and he can prove that he can stay healthy? Let's take a look at the craziest quarterback offseason ever, in my opinion, with all of that aforementioned quarterback movement. Aaron Rodgers. Largest contract ever for a football player, going back to the Green Bay Packers. Russell Wilson, in a shocker, traded by the Seattle Seahawks to the Denver Broncos. Tom Brady comes out of retirement. He's going back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Carson Wentz gets traded from the Indianapolis Colts to the Washington Commanders. Mitchell Trubisky goes to one of those Jimmy G destinations. He signs on as what looks to be the starting quarterback for Pittsburgh here in 2022. We ain't done, folks. Deshaun Watson was cleared legally. He got traded to the Cleveland Browns by the Houston Texans, and in the process signed that historic contract. Baker Mayfield is still on the Browns roster, but not for long. Matt Ryan dealt by the Atlanta Falcons to the Indianapolis Colts to be the Carson Wentz replacement, and the Colts now 5 different starters the last 5 years. Jameis Winston re-ups and returns to New Orleans, signing a 2-year deal worth pretty significant money. Then the last quarterback, the elephant in the room, the big question mark, Jimmy Garoppolo, as of right now, still on this Niners roster. Now, when you look at Jimmy G moving forward with San Francisco, the ideal scenario for the Niners is that they trade Jimmy Garoppolo, they ride with Trey Lance, they moved up to take him in the 2021 NFL draft and mortgaged so much draft capital to do so. And look, mixed messaging isn't good in life. It's not good in relationships. It's not good in football. If you're in a relationship and your significant other is giving you some mixed messages, that relationship ain't trending in the right direction. And for Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Shanahan, and John Lynch, there's some mixed messaging going on if Jimmy G is on this roster come training camp, because what is the message that gets sent to Trey Lance? We don't believe in you. We don't think that you're ready to play. We think that you're too raw. The locker room is split, and a lot of guys want Jimmy G, and Kyle Shanahan has this trust in Garoppolo that he can be the guy to lead them back to the promised land, when in reality, this offense has so much potential with Trey Lance as the starting quarterback because he can do anything on the football field, running it, throwing it, can complete any pass. His athleticism is absolutely ridiculous, and this offense with Garoppolo as the starting quarterback, it has a ceiling. With Trey Lance, in my opinion, limitless potential. Mixed messaging, it ain't good. And there's still a lot of time in the offseason for a trade to come to fruition. But as of right now, I'm pretty surprised that the Niners have not dealt Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes, the shoulder injury impacted his trade value, but at the same time, the 49ers overplayed their hands, and right now, they're kind of screwed. Now, what should the Niners do? Should they trade Garoppolo? Should they cut him? Should they keep him? Let me know in the comment section. This will be the pinned comment on today's video, so if you get hit with that YouTube ad break, it's a perfect opportunity for you to scroll on down and get your votes in. And also, as a reminder, for those of you watching us live here on YouTube, we'll be live on Rumble only for the final segment of our live show. Subscribe, join us there, and keep it locked. Rumble.com/49erstv. More exclusive content on the Rumble app. Now, it's not like teams haven't had any interest in Jimmy Garoppolo. He's suffered a lot of injuries over time, and that shoulder injury has really impacted his trade value, as we talked a lot about here on the 49ers Report, and the asking price in a trade for Garoppolo has also played a role. The Niners wanted a first-round pick, reportedly. They wanted 2 second-round picks. I think it's baloney. They had 2 second-round picks on the table because Matt Ryan, a former MVP in the NFL, went for a third-round pick. But all of these circumstances have played roles in why Garoppolo has not been dealt yet. And as I talked about, teams have checked in on Jimmy G. He's won around 70% of his games. 2 NFC championship games over the span of 3 years, including a Super Bowl appearance back in 2019. But the shoulder injury has people concerned, including those inside the building in Indianapolis with the Colts. Diana Rossini, ESPN, saying this: why didn't the Colts go after Jimmy G? From what I was told, there were concerns over the shoulder injury, not so much the medical side of it, but the idea of missing time in the offseason with a new team. This was a red flag. Now, I thought The Athletic said some pretty interesting things about the Colts checking in on Garoppolo and why they didn't end up making a deal for him. They had hesitations when it came to Garoppolo, worried about what his offseason shoulder surgery could cost them if a deal was struck. There was plenty to like about the 49ers quarterback. Sure, Garoppolo's 33-14 record as a starter in San Francisco, a trip to the Super Bowl, another trip to an NFC championship game, but the Colts weren't going to bend over backwards to trade for a passer that they felt was limited. Now, there's also this when we talk about Jimmy G. Yes, he's a good leader. Yes, he's somewhat limited physically, but players do love him. And yes, he's won a bunch of games, but he's a fringe top half starter in the National Football League. He's somewhat limited physically because he's not going to be a game breaker with his legs. And really, he completes a lot of balls in between the hashes. And when he does throw outside the numbers, it can get risky for a pick going the other way. He's been injury prone throughout his career, and the shoulder injury doesn't help that cause at all. And the $26.9 million cap hit is very prohibitive for teams that would have traded for Jimmy G. Let's look at the Atlanta Falcons. They traded away Matt Ryan, and for the Colts, they're not paying a cap hit for Matt Ryan, who's a better quarterback and a former MVP, nearly as much as what a team would be paying for Garoppolo. The Carolina Panthers, they're paying Sam Darnold. They don't want to have to pay Garoppolo as well. And for Mitchell Trubisky, I think Garoppolo's a better quarterback, but Trubisky has more upside, and his cap hit nowhere even close to the astronomical figure of that $26.9 million mark. Would you trade Jimmy G to the Seattle Seahawks, though? We're going to explore this here coming up in just a few moments. Let me know. YW for yes way, NW for no way, because you'd be scarred by the idea of the Seahawks continuing to own San Francisco, which they have, with Garoppolo as the starting quarterback. Once again, get those votes in. I'm fascinated to see what you all say. Now let's continue to explore this a little bit. Could Garoppolo get traded to Seattle? This is something that the Mercury News explored a little bit in a very good opinion piece that I want to pass along. For a team like the Seahawks, Garoppolo, injured throwing shoulder and all, could be an interesting proposition. Pete Carroll wants to get back to classic Seahawks football. Garoppolo just might be the guy to do it for him. He's not a swashbuckler like Drew Lock or Baker Mayfield or Russell Wilson. He'll play within structure. He knows how to hand the football off. He can throw the ball over the middle. He's only good on third down, and there are no issues with immaturity from Garoppolo either. That's a Pete Carroll quarterback if I've ever seen one. And for Seattle, and for a player like Baker Mayfield, that immaturity aspect, is somewhat concerning. Now, you're probably looking at this potential scenario saying, an interdivision trade, sending one starting quarterback to another team within the division, that never happens before, right? It's happened before, including some really bona fide names in the National Football League. Drew Bledsoe, because of the emergence and stellar play of Tom Brady, was once the franchise face and the franchise icon for the New England Patriots. He was traded to the Buffalo Bills. Donovan McNabb, after leading the Philadelphia Eagles to 5 NFC Championship games throughout his illustrious and borderline Hall of Fame career, was traded from the Philadelphia Eagles to the Washington Redskins at the time. So these trades within certain divisions have happened before. So I'm not ruling out the possibility of Jimmy Garoppolo being traded from the San Francisco 49ers to the Seattle Seahawks. But I think the Niners want to do Jimmy Garoppolo right by trading him somewhere where they believe he has an opportunity to flourish, succeed, and have success. I also think that in the back of the minds of Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, they don't want to trade Jimmy Garoppolo to the Pacific Northwest, to a heated division rival, in one of the best rivalries in the National Football League, knowing that Seattle over time, ever since Russell Wilson got drafted in 2012, has absolutely owned San Francisco, and they don't want to trade Garoppolo up there to Seattle, knowing that there is a possibility in which Garoppolo could continue that dominance over San Francisco and haunt them and give them nightmares. So I think the possibility of this happening is very low. But if you're the Niners, do you just have to swallow your pride at this point? Do you just have to take what you can get back for Jimmy Garoppolo? And if the Seattle Seahawks were to offer a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick, at this point, there are no other offers out there. There are only two teams in the Panthers and the Seahawks who are in need of a starting quarterback, and Garoppolo's value right now is extremely low. If you release him, you don't get anything back. If you bring him back, that's mixed messaging to your locker room. Do you take a chance, trade him to the Seahawks, knowing they have a defensive-minded head coach in Pete Carroll? That offense has been on a downward trajectory. The defense for quite a long time has been bad. At this point, I might think about it, although that is a scary proposition of him going to Seattle and having a lot of success, because he is a scheme fit and he really is a perfect quarterback for what Pete Carroll wants. Not a flashy quarterback, not an immature quarterback, a good leader who can really run the offense, play point guard, but also hand the football off and just kind of facilitate, which is what Pete Carroll wants. Now, before we hop on out of here on this segment, make sure you give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. I absolutely love interacting with the Niner gang, and I made it easy for all of you. At Chase_Senior, it's the same handle on both, and make sure you subscribe to the 49ers Report by Chat Sports as we close in on 60,000 subs. All right, let's give some shout-outs to the people. 350 people watching live, 116 likes. We'll get to those super chats here coming up here in just a few moments. Michael Weston is in the chat. So too is DK, Skyrus, Hanif Razak, Luscious, Kim Adams, Brian Flores, Kevin Clement, Parrish Smith, William Gomez. Appreciate all of you for rocking and rolling with us here on the 49ers Report. Would you trade Jimmy G to Seattle? Type YW for yes way. Type NW for no way. We're only getting started here on the 49ers Report live here on Chat Sports as we have just a jam-packed show here from you. Trade him to Ukraine from No None. Isn't that something? We'll get caught up on those super chats. Do we want to do that now or during our mailbag? I guess we can get to the super chats right now, right? Let's get to those super chats right now in between segments here. 330 people watching live. Shout out to everybody who is watching us on Rumble as well. 149 subscribers, so we picked up a few. $10 super chat coming in from Daryl McCullum. He's a real one. I am certainly going to drink to that. Rocking with Tequila and Topo Chico. Jesus with the $5 super chat. What if we trade Jimmy G for Sam Darnold straight up to free up some cap space for Sam Darnold? He's only worth $18 million, and he can be a backup to Trey Lance. I don't hate Sam Darnold as a backup. I hate paying $18 million to a backup. That's my only problem. Jesus, appreciate that question. And Chris, Maraca. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Love your show. I love you, man. Really do appreciate you for making the 49ers Report a part of your day. Steve Guess, everyone's on YouTube. Yes. But after the show on YouTube, we're going live exclusively on Rumble. That's why I told a lot of you to subscribe and join us, rumble.com/49ers TV. You can watch us on YouTube. But after our live show on YouTube, we're going to be going live exclusively on Rumble, a brand new partner here at Chat Sports. So coming up on Rumble after the show, again, not right now. Going to give you an exclusive segment where I break down 10 bold predictions for the 49ers following week 1 of NFL free agency as we are locked and loaded in week 2 of NFL free agency. Crocs Box 52. Where is Thomas Ma? My question for you, where have you been? I took over the 49ers Report in April, so not sure where you've been. Appreciate you for coming back, but yeah, it's been almost a year, man. One mailbag today. Use the hashtag 49ers, or better yet, if you want the guarantee that your questions will be answered, you can super chat us just like those people did. Daryl McCollum, Jesus, and some others. So yeah, super chat us. Your questions are guaranteed to be answered. Chris Maraca, the other super chat that came in. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Free daily videos covering the latest 49ers news and rumors. Best 49ers coverage here on YouTube. And we interact with the audience better than anybody out there. So coming up next, we are going to be doing a top free agent segment where we take a look at some of the top free agents available. So let's get into that right now. Keep it locked and loaded right here at Chat Sports. You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of the Niner gang is having a fantastic week. Coming your way on today's show, week 2 of NFL free agency, we're going to take a look at the top free agents who are currently available. Now, we're recording this during our live show on Tuesday, so if a signing happens momentarily, of course, this list will be updated. But as of right now, the top free agents available on the open market. Now, kind of listing these players in terms of significance, player value, and talent level. Teron Armstead, not a player I believe the 49ers are going to sign for a couple of reasons. Way too expensive, way too injury prone, and we've seen throughout this free agency period, they have really marked guys on their list who are younger and more affordable, but Armstead, when he's right, can certainly play. A player who I would certainly be intrigued by is Jadeveon Clowney. Everybody wants to look at the sack numbers. I don't really look at the sack numbers all the time. It's like wins for a pitcher. Doesn't tell the full story. But last year, Clowney had one of his best sack-producing seasons playing opposite of Myles Garrett. Could he flourish in San Francisco playing opposite of Nick Bosa? I think the answer to that question is yes. Now, is he a little bit older? No doubt. Could he be expensive? Yeah, maybe, but he could also be a nice little bargain chip as well. Might not sign with the team until later on in free agency. Odell Beckham Jr. looked to be done with the Cleveland Browns, or at least many of us thought. I think it was just Baker Mayfield. He was awesome for the Los Angeles Rams because the Rams brought back Allen Robinson, or signed him rather, and they traded away Robert Woods. Does that mean that OBJ is going to come back, or is he going to sign with another team? We'll see. Another really good weapon, though, on the outside who can also play the slot. Stephon Gilmore. A couple of rumors out there that the Niners have shown some interest in him because they've certainly been invested in cornerbacks throughout this free agency period. In his early 30s, yes, he's a little bit older, but he is coming off a Pro Bowl year. Stephon Gilmore would make the secondary stacked. I like the signing of Charvarius Ward. I'm not sure if I'm in the minority or the majority with that opinion, but when you're paying $14 million per year for a cornerback 2 who has cornerback 1 talent, who has a lot of upside, who's only 25 years old and trending in the right direction, top 5 in a lot of analytical categories, I think Charvarius Ward is going to be great. Now, the 49ers did lose K'Wan Williams to the Denver Broncos. 2-year, $7 million deal, $3.5 million average annual value. Does that open up an opportunity for Gilmore to come to San Francisco if they're willing to pay him? They might have to, because he might demand $10 to $15 million on about a 3-year deal. We're going to continue to break down this list of top available free agents. But first, which free agent do you want the Niners to sign? Let me know in the comments section. Still plenty of names out there as evidenced by this list. A player who I would really like, Tyrann Mathieu of the Kansas City Chiefs. Why do I like him? He can basically play any position on the defense outside of defensive tackle. What? He's so small. Yeah. He's played safety, both spots. He's played corner, outside, inside, and he can also rush the passer inside the box. Tyrann Mathieu is a heady defensive football player who is a game breaker and makes monster plays and has done so for a bunch of winning organizations. Him coming to the Bay, if you lose Jaquiski Tartt, would be an immediate upgrade. It'd also be an upgrade in terms of what you're paying him, but man, he is very, very good, even though he's 29. Bobby Wagner, there was some reported interest early when he was released by the Seattle Seahawks. It's kind of waned over time, coming off a 170 tackle season, so obviously he can still get the job done, and if you pair him alongside Fred Warner, it gives you Navarro Bowman, Patrick Willis vibes, but for what he is going to get and demand on the open market, he might be too pricey, and I like what the Niners linebacking core did last year. I think it's one of the best in the NFL with Dre Greenlaw, Azeez Al-Shire, and the All-Pro Fred Warner. Trey Flowers, J.C. Tretter, Julio Jones. Trey Flowers, I don't think it makes a lot of sense as a scheme fit. J.C. Tretter, maybe if Alex Mack retires, but the expectation is that he returns to the Bay. Julio Jones. We know that Kyle Shanahan loves him. We'll talk about that here in just a few seconds. As for Tyrann Mathieu, he can do it all as I talked about. He's great in coverage. He's a great tackler. He can rush the passer. I love his football IQ. He's an absolute baller. Bobby Wagner is a fun idea. I just don't think it makes a lot of sense financially and with the players that you have on this team as you're bringing back Azeez Al-Shire, as you tendered him $4 million in the neighborhood of that is what you're paying him here in 2022. Julio Jones among that last group of 5 players I think might be the most realistic option because Kyle Shanahan straight up loves himself some Julio Jones. He's always complimented him every step of the way when he's had an opportunity to do so, and the injury problems the last 2 years are certainly concerning. There's also been a dip in production. The injuries have increased, and the production has also gone down, but he'd be a great scheme fit. As that X-wide receiver outside, you allow Deebo Samuel to go to his more natural spot inside. Brandon Ayuk can play anywhere. So too can Deebo, by the way. George Kittle, I just am concerned with an older player whose production is certainly declining, but he would really fit well in this scheme if he can stay healthy. Now we're killing the game here on YouTube, approaching nearly 60,000 subs as the largest 49ers news and rumors channel on the entire internet. If you want free daily videos, the latest 49ers news and rumors, subscribe to the channel. It's youtube.com/49erstv, or even easier, just hit that red subscribe button down below. Now, not only is our analysis top-notch, we also have phenomenal deals for you. This vintage 49ers t-shirt on sale, limited time only, originally $40, now on sale for just $28. All you got to do, thanks to our friends at Fanatics, chatsports.com/49vintage for that deal to apply. Styles always return, so too do these vintage printed t-shirts. I'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. We're about a little bit halfway through this list. Melvin Ingram, I thought he actually played really good for the Pittsburgh Steelers last year as an edge rusher, certainly getting longer in the tooth on the back nine of his career. Antonio Brown, I think he's a Hall of Fame talent. I think he can still play, but I'm not willing to deal with all of the drama. Rob Gronkowski, I think he's going to go back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers upon that announcement of Tom Brady coming out of retirement, because they are certainly just best friends and a really dynamic duo. Calais Campbell, yeah, I mean, the size is certainly intriguing, but as a scheme fit, I don't really think that makes a lot of sense. Derek Barnett, though, is a player that I do want to talk about. Now, as for tight end, the 49ers could use a backup tight end. And I've said this a lot about Kyle Shanahan's offense. I would not hate the idea of Kyle Shanahan experimenting with more 12 personnel, more 2 tight end sets. I think it makes the offense a little bit less predictable, especially if Trey Lance is the starting quarterback, because you already have that built-in advantage of the opposing defense not knowing if Trey Lance is going to run it and tuck it or if he's going to throw it. But also when you run that 12 personnel, you have better blocking with 2 tight ends, but also they can both run routes too. So a backup tight end for George Kittle, I think, is a big point of emphasis. Maybe that's something that the Niners address in the NFL draft with their bevy of picks. As for Derek Barnett, former first-round pick out of Tennessee, while with the Volunteers, broke Reggie White's sack record, which was a really impressive achievement. With the Philadelphia Eagles, he didn't live up to those lofty expectations, but high-effort player, high motor, really physical player, and has not really put together a lot of seasons with large sack numbers, but he has gotten after the quarterback, and I think playing opposite of Nick Bosa could allow him to really show some of those flashes of what made him a first-round pick with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I don't think he's going to be all that expensive. Now, the one thing to watch out for Derek Barnett, he has been flagged for a lot of personal misconduct penalties, but when you bring a player like this in with the high motor, who plays really hard, who does have a lot of pass rushing techniques and solid moves, and you line him up opposite of Nick Bosa, a player like that in this scheme, playing under DeMeco Ryans and the great developer of defensive linemen and defensive line coach Chris Kocurek, I think that he would be able to really impress a lot of people. I'm intrigued by the idea of bringing in Derek Barnett on a prove-it deal for San Francisco. Now, pick one if you had to sign one. Arden Key, Derek Barnett. Arden Key plays more defensive tackle after that positional switch, which allowed him to have 6.5 sacks last year. A key for Arden Key, DB for Derek Barnett. Embrace debate and pick one. All right, well, let's round out this list. Melvin Gordon does follow the 49ers on Instagram, but I don't think he's going to the Niners. I don't think the Niners are really wise to pay him all that much money. And at this point of his career, can he still run the football? There's no question about that. But the Niners have a youth movement at the running back position with Elijah Mitchell. And frankly, I want to see more from Trey Sermon. Darrell Williams, maybe has some tackle depth. Eric Fisher, the same can be said for him. If Mike McGlinchey is slowed by that torn quad and he can't come back sooner rather than later, maybe Fisher would make some sense. A former number 1 pick who had a bunch of great years with the Kansas City Chiefs. Justin Houston, I'm good. He's way too old for me. And then Jerry Hughes, somewhat of an intriguing player, no longer with the Buffalo Bills. The 49ers love to prioritize defensive linemen. I just don't think Jerry Hughes really fits that bill. Why? 49ers philosophy seems to be clear right now. So far in free agency, they have targeted younger, affordable talent, all upside signings, and they've had a big point of emphasis in the special teams unit, which ranked 26th in the National Football League this year. And I understand why a lot of fans are frustrated with the Niners' lack of moves, considering they were this close from making it to their second Super Bowl in 3 years. They were knocking on the doorstep of playing at SoFi once again in Super Bowl 56, and they do have some upgrades that need to be made on this roster. But you have to keep this in mind. Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuel, they are going to get lofty contract extensions, and John Lynch said it a couple of months ago right after that loss to the Rams in the NFC title game. Those two franchise pillars have been budgeted for, and the Niners are planning ahead. And we know with Parag running things financially, they always seem to be fiscally somewhat responsible, maybe even cheap at times, but those moves and acquisitions won't be cheap at all because Bosa and Debo could both land historic contracts. Up to this point, how would you grade the 49ers offseason? A, B, C, D, or F? Let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear from the Niner faithful down below. Terron Armstead to the Dolphins. Well, that's why I said it in the video, right? Not going to be cutting that one out, but that's why I said it. You know, these moves could be made. What is it? 5-year deal for Armstead to go to the Dolphins. Wow. That's pretty hefty. C Monster in the chat, always guapo. 430 people watching live, by the way. We're going to continue to move forward in our live show. Mailbag coming up next, and then a Rumble-only segment where I give you 10 bold predictions following Week 1 of NFL free agency. William Smith, YT Joker, Daryl McCollum going C, William going D, C+, I guess, from YT, C from Ian Sharp, BK from the Bay going with the C. James Schaefer, C as well. Continue to get those super chats in as well. $50 super chat, I'll shotgun, and I'll bring in a new guy to do either a beer bong, a beer boot, or a beer shotgun, maybe even a shot. It'll be up to them at that point. But we're partying here on the Niners Report because we just love chopping it up with the faithful. Julian Rost, strong C. Rams respect the champs from DeAndre. C from Dwayne Lee. C from Andre Rollins. BK from the Bay, also riding with the C. Coming up next here on the 49ers Report, live here on Chat Sports. Going to be doing a 49ers news and rumors mailbag, but first, need to ask you this question. Have you followed us on Rumble? If you haven't already done so, do so right now. Why? Because we're going to be going live exclusively on Rumble after today's show for a special segment, and I want to continue to have fun with the faithful. Type Y for yes or type N for no, and if you haven't followed us on Rumble, see that link down below, rumble.com/49erstv. Plug that in, give us a follow because we're going to continue to put up more exclusive content on the Rumble app. We're up to 152 subscribers on Rumble. Continue to just hit that green subscribe button. And after our live YouTube video and show, I want to see how many people show up and show out by going over and switching over to Rumble only, because I want to see how much of you support what we do, and I know it's going to be a lot of you. So rumble.com/49erstv, we'll be going live exclusively on that end. One mailbag today, as I talked about. A couple ways for you to get involved and get your questions answered. Use the hashtag 49ers. Better yet, super chat us. So far, had a couple of super chats come in. The latest one, Chris Maraca, $2 super chat. We get a $50 super chat. I'll shotgun a beer. I'll bring in a new guy right here, live on the 49ers Report, and we'll get down, we'll get crazy. So hashtag 49ers or super chat us for you to get your questions answered coming up on this mailbag. And without further ado, we're going to do that right now if Marsh, you're ready to rock. All right, mailbag coming your way right here on the 49ers Report. 49ers news and rumors mailbag coming at you on the 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr. We go live every single Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, and a mailbag, part of our live show because we love interacting with the Niner Gang more so than any other YouTube channel out there. That's why you got to subscribe to the channel. We start off this mailbag with this question coming in first from Chua Lore. Do you think Jimmy Garoppolo gets cut? How much do you think the 49ers save? Well, he has a $26.9 million cap hit in 2022, something in that neighborhood. So I do think that if it gets to a point where he's so prohibitive to be on this roster and they're not able to build out this roster, he could get cut. I think another possibility, they hang on to him and they put him through a physical when he's actually able to throw because he got surgery 2 weeks ago, not able to throw for 16 weeks, and there's going to be another quarterback-needy team out there. If another quarterback goes down, you hold on to Jimmy G, and maybe you get something more back for him than what you can get right now, and you can show that he's healthy. That's a possibility, but I think up to this point, the 49ers have botched this. it's really been somewhat of a seesaw. I thought they were going to trade him, then they didn't, and then a bunch of quarterback movement happened across the National Football League. It's been a crazy offseason in terms of Jimmy G. Cyrus with this question, should John Lynch be fired if Jimmy G is released for no return? I mean, we're talking about a team that made it to the Final Four last year. They're a couple plays away from making it to Super Bowl 56. So while people deserve to be frustrated with not trading away Garoppolo, not getting back draft compensation, like a second-round pick, a third-round pick, the shoulder injury has impacted his trade value, and they waited too long, and they miscalculated the market. You deserve to be frustrated, but to say that John Lynch should be fired, I think that's going a little bit too far. This roster still has premier talent on both sides of the football, and they almost made it to the Super Bowl last year, and once again, they're going to be an NFC favorite here in 2022. The homie, BK from the Bay, Chase, do you think Jimmy intentionally screwed the Niners with the surgery? No. I don't think anybody just willingly is going to say, you know what, cut me up, I'm going to go under the knife and I'm going to get some surgery. Like, none of us want to undergo a surgical procedure. Now, could he have gotten that surgery a little bit earlier? Yes. And did him and his agent Don Yee, who's also the agent for Tom Brady, maybe have a plan in place to not get that surgery right away to impact his trade value in hopes of him getting released so that he could pick his destination? Maybe. But then they miscalculated the market too, because there aren't any destinations left for Jimmy G. We're talking about the Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. Now, that's a conspiracy theory, what I just explained, but I don't think anybody is just going to just go under the knife just to get surgery. Nobody wants to do that because it's somewhat serious. I think he actually needed surgery. The timing of it is a little bit curious. Jason Lutz, are the Niners still looking at safety and free agency? A lot of talent still out there. And the talent, as of Tuesday, it's Tyrann Mathieu. Premier talent still out there on the open market. Rodney McLeod, also a big name on the free agency market. I think that they'll look at safety if they move on from Jaquiski Tartt. What does Tartt get on the open market? He's a quality player, and he's coming off the best year of his career. I'd like to see him come back to the Niners because of what he did in 2021 and the fact that he's affordable. You'd have to pay Tyrann Mathieu so much more money than Jaquiski Tartt. Now, is Mathieu better? Yes, and that's why you'd be paying him a lot. But in a team-building sense, bring back Jaquiski Tartt would make a lot of sense because he's a good player and he's not going to break the bank. Who is your favorite 49ers signing so far? Is it Charvarius Ward? Is it Hassan Ridgeway? Is it George Odom? Is it another one of the signings? Like, I don't know, Oren Burks. They've been somewhat silent up to this point, but you let me know in the comment section right now. Garcia Brothers. What's up, Chase? What's up, Garcia Brothers? Do you think the 49ers will pick up a deep ball threat or a big body wide receiver? Man, you know what a dream target would be? Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. I don't think he's going to be available at pick number 61, but because you have, 10 picks this year because of those comp picks, can you trade up into the back half of that first round for a team that's unsure about what they want? Could you trade up in the second round if a big-bodied wide receiver is still there? I think so. I'm not sure Burks is going to be available, but Christian Watson out of North Dakota State, he's 6'5", ran like a 4.3, 4.4 40 at the NFL Combine, a deep ball threat. I think that's an area of need. You stretch the field vertically, open up so much underneath for Debo, Ayuk, and George Kittle to get into the kitchen. I think that's a point of emphasis, no doubt. Hanif Razak, what are the possibilities that the Niners trade Jimmy G at the trade deadline after Week 8 for 1 6th-round pick and 1 7th? I think that value, a little bit too low, but do they trade him at the deadline? I think that might be a little bit too late. I don't think you can go into next year with Jimmy Garoppolo still on this roster. 1, because of the cap hit. 2, because of the mixed messaging to Trey Lance in that locker room. We know that a lot of people in that locker room, they're more fans of Garoppolo than they are Trey Lance, and they wanted Garoppolo last year. So I think that's a little bit of a problem. But Hanif Razak, appreciate that question. Have you followed us on Rumble? Type Y for yes. Type N for no, rumble.com/49ers TV. More exclusive content on the Rumble app, including our live shows where we do segments only on Rumble and not just on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, show up, show out, show me that you love the 49ers Report by going to rumble.com/49ers TV. Always Guapo. Do you think Trey will be ready before the regular season starts? I think he's ready right now. I really do think Trey Lance is ready to rock right now. This guy has unbelievable physical upside. He has great arm strength, which is really reminiscent of what Mahomes and Josh Allen can do with the football. He's got not necessarily Josh Allen escapability and running ability, but he's somewhat close. And in Kyle Shanahan's offense, I really do think that he is going to be able to succeed because he's got a good coach. He has good complementary pieces. He has an organization that invested in him, at least as of now. We'll see what happens with Jimmy G. And I just think in this offense, he can really do anything. Take the top off of the defense, complete any ball on the field, run the football as well to keep the defense guessing. I just want to see him get all of the reps this offseason. He's raw. He certainly needs it. He was drafted at 20 years old. Him being raw and inexperienced and needing reps shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. YT Joker, what do you think the Niners Charvarius Ward instead of someone like J.C. Jackson because of the Jimmy situation? What do I think of them signing Charvarius Ward instead of someone like J.C. Jackson? Thank you, brother. Look, J.C. Jackson, the first 2 years of his contract, he's going to be making $20 million average annual value. And I think with this Niners defensive line and how good it is and how they can get after the quarterback, you don't need to pay a cornerback $20 million per year because if a quarterback doesn't have time to throw, they can't pick apart your defense. Now with Charvarius Ward, you're paying him around $14 million per year. And I think that's good value. He's 25. He has upside coming off the best year of his career. He's a dog. He has really good size and length at 6'1". I think he's going to be a really good player. Him and Emmanuel Mosley and Ambry Thomas, who certainly flashed last year, I think that has the makings of a very good secondary. Now, we're killing the game here on YouTube as the largest 49ers News and Rumors channel on the entire internet, approaching 60,000 subs. Subscribe to the channel for free daily videos year-round right here on the 49ers Report by hitting that red subscribe button down below or go to youtube.com/49erstv. We have a $50 super chat to get to from the real OG, Daryl McCullum. Got to run, Chase. Enjoy your shotgun. So here on our live show, we will do that shotgun in honor of Daryl. I'm also going to bring somebody else from the Chat Sports office on camera with me, and they're going to have to do something crazy as well. We'll do this shotgun after the mailbag is over. Orbital Blade, what are the chances Jimmy stays with the Niners? Look, everybody's predictions as far as Garoppolo have been off. A lot of people thought that he was going to get traded last year. A lot of people thought he was going to get traded this offseason. The easiest scenario was him getting traded at some point this offseason in what used to be a wide-open quarterback market. That wide-open quarterback market is not wide open any longer, and that's a problem for the Niners. I think there's a slight chance that he stays with the Niners this upcoming year. I don't personally like the idea because I'd rather move forward with Trey Lance. Last question in this mailbag. Jason Lutz. Jimmy G is a backup quarterback somewhere in 2022. Is that going to happen? Is he a backup with the Niners? They'd have to restructure his cap number. You cannot pay a backup quarterback anywhere between $20 and $26 million. And that category, that fits Jimmy Garoppolo. Even a guy like Sam Darnold, with an $18 million cap hit. You can't pay a backup quarterback that much money. Part of the team-building philosophy for the Niners in picking Trey Lance was having him on his rookie contract. You're 2 years in, and if Garoppolo's on the roster once again, that throws that thought process out of the window. So as a backup quarterback with the Niners in 2022, that's so prohibitive for building out your roster somewhere else, maybe. But I think Jimmy G, he can be a starter in this league. All right, let's give some shout-outs to some of the people here on the 49ers Report. Also going to do a beer shotgun for that $50 super chat. Somebody's going to have to come on from the Chat Sports offices to live up to the billing with that $50 super chat. 67 Bones. Also, get my keys that are in my jacket pocket so I can crack this shotty. I'll give some shout-outs to the people. Have you followed us on Rumble? Type Y for yes, type N for no. We're going live exclusively on Rumble after our live show is wrapped up. I see Dick Tracy, Dave Santella, Always Guapo, Ken Martin, Shane Austin, Treasure Kisses, all in the chat right now. In terms of subscribers on Rumble, we're up to 155. Good work by the Niner gang. Appreciate that. People are busy. Okay. Yeah, not busy for the Raiders Report. Harold Murillo typing an N. BK from the Bay typing a Y. Harry, you can come on and just at least take a sip.
I'll chug this.
All right, chug that piece.
What's up, Niner gang?
Got a $50 super.
That's right. What's going on in the chat today? Good channel. I agree, Dick Tracy.
Cheers to Daryl McCollum for the $50 soup. Got my boy Harrison Graham in here.
Boys.
Cheers.
All right. Count us down.
Cheers.
3, 2, 1. Woo. It's hard to chug these seltzers.
All right. Daryl McCollum. Good luck's on the super chat. Even brought in Mitchell Renz here as well. Killing it on the Raiders report.
He's fiending after last week. He needed
Yeah, for real. Needed some more alk. Taron Armstead, by the way, signed with the Miami Dolphins. Looking at the deal, 5 years, up to $87.5 million, $43.3 million in guaranteed money. Also have another $10 super chat that we'll answer before we go live exclusively on Rumble. We'll pop that up here on the screen momentarily. Start making your way to Rumble, rumble.com/49ers TV. We're going live exclusively over there. So far, Steve Guess and Callie F. Tom in the chat on Rumble. Here's that $10 super chat. Someone brought something up to my attention that made sense. Keep Jimmy until he is healthy and then cut him to keep him from paying the $7.5 million in guaranteed money. It actually makes a lot of sense in my opinion. Yeah, look, I see what you're saying there. Like, if you keep Jimmy Garoppolo on this roster and he can prove that he can stay healthy and actually throw the football, which is a concern for a lot of teams out there, and a quarterback injury happens elsewhere across the NFL, is another team going to reach out to the Niners and say, look, we know that Garoppolo can win games. He's had success in doing so. 2 NFC title games over the span of 3 years. We want Jimmy Garoppolo. We're desperate. We'll give you a second or third round pick, and we're confident that he's healthy now. Yeah, that's a possibility. So fire the great. I appreciate that super chat. We are going to sign off here momentarily on YouTube. Check us out on Rumble, though. We're going to keep staying live on the 49ers Report and do an exclusive content and exclusive segment on Rumble only. It's rumble.com/49ers TV. I'm going to put that link in the comment section right now, and then we're going to sign off of YouTube and go live exclusively on Rumble. Now, we've been live on Rumble all throughout this show, but we're going to go live for a Rumble-only segment. So join us over there, and while you're there, hit that green subscribe button. It's rumble.com/49ers TV. Look forward to having you all join me there on the Rumble